Wait, hold a minute. Hold on. What are you doing? You idiot. Sorry.
Sorry for that brief interlude there from Joe, but that's staying in. I don't care what you say. Welcome to another edition of That Millwall podcast. This is episode 12 of the 22-23 season, and we have got a bumper episode for you. Lots of guests, loads of opinion, and without further ado, I will welcome my partner in crime, the one and only Omar. Hello, fella.
Hello, mate. It's been a while since the pair of us been on together.
Yes, mate. Yes, mate. I said that on the show we did on Sunday. So yeah, it's good for the original team to be back. Probably the listeners won't agree, but hey, fuck it, who cares, eh? To my right, the one and only Chats with Chaps. How you doing, fella? You all right?
Hello, mate. Yeah, good. Thanks. Thanks for having me on.
You're getting some quite fame from that. People seem to really like that. It's going down well. If you've not checked it out, check out the YouTube channel and you can listen to Chris give you an honest and review of the games. Yes, it's an honest take. So yeah, have a look at that. You all good, yeah?
Yes, mate. Yeah, thank you. Cue the slate in now. You've got a few more people looking at it. We'll see how it goes.
No, that's it. And then it's down there. The football guru is Kai.
Hello, mate. You all right?
Yeah, not too bad. And then down there, this means pointless to you listening on the podcast.
I was about to say this is great for anyone listening audio. So yeah,
down there,
fantastic.
We've got the one and only Joe Zambo, who gave us our fantastic intro.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. But yeah, how are you all doing? You all right?
All good. All good.
Good.
Right. Question is, so far is obviously this is after the Burnley game. And hats off to all of you who travelled up there and you made the journey, which was probably, to be fair, probably a good 10, 12-hour round trip there or thereabouts. So hats off to you guys for travelling for the shit show you saw up there. But, hey, it is what it is. So we'll start with you, Omar. Your views on the Burnley game then.
Ooh, where to start? I mean, going to Burnley away and losing 2-0, it's not what we didn't not expect, so to speak. Like, I probably expected us to get turned over yesterday. I don't know how to feel about it. In a weird way, obviously it's 3 defeats in a row. Only, 2 wins all season so far this season. And we're conceding goals at an alarming rate. It's obviously, there's loads of warning signs to be seen there. But I kind of came away from it yesterday, mixed emotions, because there were some bright sparks in there that I've not seen before this season. With Fleming in particular, I thought maybe for me was a bit of a bright spark. But ultimately, you can't get away from the fact that, the team is short of confidence, short of goals, and doesn't look cohesive either. So, I don't know. I'm trying to cling at kind of the good moments, but ultimately, there's got to be something that's got to be shaken up before Saturday against Cardiff and Steve Morrison.
Absolutely agree. Chris, your views of the Burnley game?
Yeah, I covered majority of how I felt about the game last night, but I think to summarise, I agree with Omar. Like, I don't actually think it was the worst performance in the world, and I think Burnley are a very, very good team, and I think they're going to turn a lot of teams over. They're everything we're not, unfortunately, from an attacking standpoint. What I would say is it just shows you how momentum and perception can shift, because I think if we'd have beaten Reading on Saturday, we'd have all come away from last night with a completely different view, which would have been, to Omar's point, we kind of expected that. We'd have 10 points on the table after 7 games. And I think we'd all be sitting here with a different view. So to me, it's the Reading game that's kind of put the dampers on things. But look, we've lost 3 away games to the top 3. That's facts. Regardless of whether you rate the top 3 or think we should have got more out of them, those 3 games, they're the top 3 at the moment. So we've had a difficult start. I think the next 4 games are going to be key to finding out what this team's all about.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Joe, go on in.
Yeah, a bit like the others, really. I mean, you kind of expecting a tough game away at Burnley. I think we said in our last show, what's our prediction and we all kind of hoped we might nick a 1-0 win or 2-1 win or something. But I kind of said there that, I wouldn't be surprised we lose 3-0. Obviously, it wasn't 3-0, but it could have been. But what was disappointing for me is, yes, you can kind of see why Wright set us up very defensively. Again, with 5 at the back. Tactics were very much like, get behind the ball, make it difficult for them to break us down, try and catch you on the break. Well, to catch a team on the break, you need pace. And we had no pace. So we're kind of relying on set pieces. And then the trouble is, when you're 1-0 down, you're then looking for a change. You change your formation, a change of tactics, anything. But it wasn't. It was almost like, carry on doing what you're doing. And it was only until late on when we made those substitutions and the formation changed, we were back 4, that we looked a bit more of a threat. We were getting forward, we were creating chances. Yes, we're a little bit more open at the back, but at that point, you've got to take those risks, ain't you? You're chasing the game, But, would it have been a different score had he started with a back 4 and went for it? Who knows? Burnley are a quality side. You can see, even with the youngsters coming off the bench, and the other player called Teller that played for them, he was, fantastic, a great little player. From Southampton, and it's just it's not a shock, is it? Coming out there and losing 2-0 the way we did.
No, that's it, Kai. No, we heard your views last night on your space, didn't we? No. Go on, fella.
I was just gonna say, I don't think. I agree with what everyone else said. I think probably echo it. First half, I sort of expected us to, I guess, set up that way, try and keep it balanced, because we have had a problem, obviously, with conceding early goals. And getting through to half-time again without conceding is a good platform to build on for the second half. Against Norwich, we let that go quite quickly. Against Burnley, we held out a little bit longer. But, just before they scored, Omar was there, so Omar no. But we nearly scored, didn't we? We could have, Cresswell hit the post and Zian Fleming had a strike. So it's fine margins, I guess. If that one goes in, maybe it turns out a different way. But I think both goals were too sloppy, really, too really soft for my liking. But hopefully there's positive signs there. Zian Fleming look good. So, hopefully we can build on that on Saturday.
I thought the 15-minute spell between half-time and them scoring their goal was probably the best we've played in open play this season. Yeah. I know that sounds really kind of an out there thing to say, but there was times where, and I said the same thing after the Norwich game in the first half in particular, where when you play against sides that are at home, the bigger sides, the Norwiches, the Burnleys, the Sheffield Uniteds, they leave a lot of space in the wide areas and in between the midfield and defence. And Fleming was constantly picking up the ball in these sort of areas. And there was a time even I remember where Fleming's trying to play through Bradshaw, played it a bit short. And, on the counter-attack, you can see dribs and drabs of positivity there. It's just ultimately, though, the underlying tone is we've lost 3 on the bounce, and defensively we look so poor and so see.
See, defensively, you say that, but I mean, the stats on defensively against Burnley weren't that bad. We pretty much, I mean, they're the stats against Burnley.
What we got? Tell me, what are we looking at?
So you've got defensive actions, which are pretty much equal. We're just above. Goals conceded, obviously, we were low, but successful defensive action, ball losses, we're fairly there. We weren't embarrassing.
We're asking the team to do too much, though, ain't we? Ultimately, defensively, maybe we're sitting too much back. I don't know. It's a hard one to justify with stats, because ultimately there's just little mishaps in the defence, and then these players, Burnley have got better players than us. Chris said this as well. They should beat us, but it's we're not putting up a fight the way we want to see. That's all. That is the crux of it.
The bit as well is that you could see that the Burnley players were playing as a team. Every single one of them was playing for each other. They looked as if they were hungry. They looked as if they wanted this game more than we did. They looked a solid unit. As in, we don't necessarily look like a solid unit at the moment. We have had spells of it, but we don't look that great as a unit. But again, we have had quite a difficult running. I mean, we've had 7 games, 7 points. Are you surprised, really, considering that we played 3 of those top teams?
All away as well.
If you had Reading in that, Reading are 5th, and we had them as well. So we played 4 of the top 5 in our first 7 games.
Yeah.
I don't think that shows where Reading will be come the end of the season. I thought they were.
Reading will be bottom.
Well,
But
They'll be in the bottom
form-wise,
five.
it does, doesn't it? Form-wise, the first 7 games, you look at where we are in form, they're obviously teams that are in form at the moment. You're looking at Coventry down the bottom at the moment, and teams like that shouldn't really be down there. Us ourselves included, we're low down there as well. So you're right, it's not a reflection on how the season's going to end, but it is a true reflection on how teams are playing currently.
All right. This go on.
It's the fixtures away from home, though, have been, you couldn't wish for a worse fixture list away from home. I think ultimately where we've come unstuck, though, is like, we've had this poor run of form, but if we got the win, like Chris said, again, on Saturday against Reading, we'd be looking differently about this. I think the key was to try and win some home games. We've done that. Yeah. And I don't think, the fixtures are starting to turn into September. I just think ultimately, though, we do need results, but also we need something for fans to get behind and see bright spots in the team. And I think I saw enough yesterday to get excited about it, but I think we need a performance on Saturday just to send everyone home thinking, right, there's a team in here that we could be happy about, I think.
I agree with that. So let's come on to that. Let's shelve that for a bit, and we'll come on to that in a while. Question what seems to be doing the rounds, and we've had it on our group, and it seems to be doing the rounds across Twitter, etc., is 2 parts to it to a degree. Is the back 5, and also the formation what he chooses. Are the players capable of playing that formation what he wants? I understand last year we could have done it quite well because we had to get out of jail cards with Burke and, Jed, who shall not be named, But what's your thoughts on that, Homer, on the formation and this back 5 continuous setup away from home?
I'm conscious Chris has got to go soon, so maybe we should put it over to him as well. But I think go Chris, go. You want to talk about formation? Because I know I remember asking you a couple of weeks ago about the formation. You're like, doesn't matter what formation is, it's all the same.
I think people get very hung up on formations. I said this a few weeks ago, and I'm not necessarily buying that is the problem. I'm not saying I wouldn't change it, which I sort of put my team out that I'd play on Saturday at home to Cardiff, where we have to go for it, in my opinion. But I also think that people sometimes need to look beyond formations. There are players that have played in these formations successfully before, and yes, there are changes. But for me, I just think it's players are just bang out of form. The amount of mistakes, and I don't know if we've got the stats, Mickey. Apologies, I probably should have asked before, but have we got stats on individual errors? Because I guarantee you, if you was to look at Cooper, Murray Wallace, Danny Mack, Scott Malone, I mean, I'm just picking on those 4, but even Bart for the second goal yesterday, I'm sorry, he should do better. I
don't have them handy, but I can get them and put them up on the website. That's not an issue.
Because for me, the fundamental is we've just got players that bang out of form and making mistakes. I think that combined with the way we've set up, which just invites constant pressure, means obviously as a rule of thumb, if you've got more pressure on you, you're going to make more mistakes because you're defending a lot more. And we don't have the pace or ball carriers to get out in transitions. I think someone mentioned it earlier. I think it was Omar you mentioned about the sort of that 15-minute period. And we did have chances. And that sort of Fleming... There was 2 instances I remember vividly. Fleming played the ball just behind Bradshaw. He gets that right. It could be 1-0 up. There was another point where Bradshaw put Fleming in, sort of, they were playing a really high line and the keeper just come out and got it. I think that was the point maybe where the keeper had to go off. But these are fine margins. And it's just those moments that aren't clicking. Will they start to click? Who knows? But I think this is why I'm not saying I wouldn't change the formation, particularly at home. There is no reason why we shouldn't be playing 4-4-2 at home. But I don't think that's the be all and end all, is my view.
We're selling ourselves short, I think, as well, because I do think, this is what I always bang the drum about. The team's not coached into drills. You don't see a pattern of play. You don't see anything that goes, that's the Millwall side on the attack there. And I think if these players were given the kind of license to play and play forward and play on the attack, I think we could see these players step up. I think a player like Billy Mitchell, if he's nursed and coached and kind of put into positions where he's allowed to have the freedom of the pitch, I think these players can excel on our side. And same with Fleming, the same with Fogelsammer. I think there's plenty of talent there. I mean, Joe, I mean, how do you feel about formation? And obviously, what I've just said there about coaching and stuff. I think we've spoken about it before, but it's like a broken record. It feels like for me at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of made my mind up now and fed up seeing Mill play the back five. I think if we had the wing backs that can do the job for us in that system, then it'll be fine, because by playing a back five, you're sacrificing an attacking player, and that's fine if you've got the wing backs that are going to get forward and get crosses in and get in the goal scoring action, and but we're not doing that. We're not doing that at all. So what we're doing is we're focusing too heavily on defence and not enough in attack. And like Chris said, we're inviting pressure on us all the time. Don't get me wrong, if we're playing away to Burnley like we did yesterday, yes, you might have to start with a back five initially and hope you can nick a goal, But as soon as you go 1-0 down, you're chasing the game. You don't really want to be carrying on with the back five. We haven't got the players, like I said, we haven't got the wing backs going to give us an attacking threat to make any difference or to try and change the game for us. So I think at home, 100% Rat's got to play the back four. Doesn't matter who it's again, even if it's against Burnley at home, you play the back four. You press high on them, you gamble. If you let a couple of players go through, it is what it is. You hope that Bart saves it. And let's be honest, he's been pretty good for us in those 1v1 situations. Hope it doesn't happen too often. But what you're doing is you're playing on the front foot. You're creating chances. You're getting the fans behind you. Because you're going for it. You're creating an atmosphere. But when you're looking at us playing a flat back five, and we're at home and we're sitting back, it just bores the life out of you, doesn't it? And last season, it didn't mind too much, because although no one was really a real fan of Rats football, we were picking up results. But if we're not picking up results and we're playing boring negative football, then what's the point? If we don't get a win against Cardiff on Saturday, it's going to be mayhem there. I can see it, Especially with Mon and Romeo there as well, Do
you think it's going to turn? I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I can see it turning.
Yeah.
It's got all the
ingredients, isn't it?
All the ingredients with Romeo.
We've got one of the best home forms in the country from the last.
I don't disagree about what we're not talking about. We're not talking about home results. We're talking about if we lose on Saturday, the whole ingredients are there for it to go pop. I don't think it will.
Well, he'll know about it, won't he, Mickey? He will know about it for sure, won't he? Right, will know. The players will know we're not happy. Yeah, we're going at 0-0 at half time. They're going to be booing him.
Of course, aren't they? I mean, they read social media.
They must do.
If I think ultimately to take Rat out of the equation just for a second, right? Whether you blame him or not, to take him out for a second. If the players cannot get up and perform on Saturday, I think that tells you all you need to know about the players.
100%. But why would that be though, Chris? I mean, I saw spurts yesterday, and I'm sure Omar was watching the game live. He saw it as well. The amount of times Burnley players were there was 3 on one of our players. They're chasing they're trying to win the ball back. They're fighting for the ball, winning the ball back. And I thought, how many times am I going to see 3 Burnley players around 1 Millwall player, and they'll fight for the ball, winning the ball back? Now you've got to ask the question: why are our players not doing that for us? Certainly, yeah, they were doing it for the fans. I'm sure they would do it if they could. But for some reason, I just feel they're not playing for Rowett at the moment. He's very quick.
That's right. Yeah.
He was very quick to jump at it last night, blaming our defenders, wasn't he? He's picking out not names, but he wasn't picking out individuals. He was saying certain players, defenders weren't playing well, weren't defending, weren't doing this, weren't doing that. And when a manager starts pointing the finger at his own players and doesn't take the blame, players are not stupid. They hear all this stuff, they see all this stuff on social media. And I think they're just getting sick and tired of it. They probably hate playing the system as much as we hate watching them play the system. Play it.
My question is that why does he keep playing this system if the players can't play the system? Something must be happening in training where he believes that they're all capable of playing that system. Because to me, when we go back 5, we seem to have issues with the system. When we go back 4 and the players are a lot more relaxed doing what they need to do, they look as if they enjoy the game more. I mean, Omar, you've been to most of the away games and that so far this season. Do you get that? Do you get that the players look more relaxed playing the back four than they do the back five? And do they look as if they're playing for the team?
Back five is like a security thing for me. It's like you're kind of you're saying to yourselves, right, we're going to be, have the extra defender here to deal with their attack. Like that's how I interpret it, and have more control of the game as well. But we don't ever dominate possession against the better sides. So we never look after the ball as well as the other teams do either. And my bugbear's always been the same as formation. You've got 3 central defenders. Creswell's maybe the exception here. That takes them too long to receive the ball, then play the ball out and try and play a progressive pass. And then you're sacrificing an extra attacker or extra midfielder. You're losing that kind of option to play further forwards, but then you're not moving the ball quick enough from the back to front. And when I say back to front, move it quick enough, I don't mean play it long. I mean, within 2 seconds, the ball should be at your feet and you should be looking for the next pass and moving the ball quicker. You watch Cooper with the ball, bless him. Cooper's not a ball-playing defender. Cooper can't play out from the back. So you're asking him to do a job at times where he's receiving the ball on the turn and he can't then make the pass quick enough. He's getting closed down. The team's moving across with the ball. Then we've not got the chance then to spread the play quicker or play through. I think we're playing this formation, trying to play it like this. It doesn't work. I don't mind the 5 at the back, to be honest with you, at times. But ultimately, you can see our players don't suit that style, not necessarily the formation, but the style of trying to play with the 3 defenders, in my opinion. That's what I think of it when I watch it. I mean, we probably should bring Kai in because he's not said anything, and we would probably need some positivity at this point because we're all putting sour taste in it. And Kai is the most positive person I know when it comes to Millwall. So, Kai, give me some positivity after yesterday.
Well, I think the positivity has to be the front 3 yesterday. I thought they were impressive. Bradshaw look back to his sort of hard working self, chases everything, doesn't he? Vogslama had a nice couple of nice little touches, and there was some moments in the game where, if the ball just, especially in the first half, actually, I think it was Vogslama who would have been in. There would almost look like there was going to be a ball over the top, and then the Burnley player just managed to cut it out. And if it doesn't, Voggy's in there. Fleming is the same. Obviously, his free kick was great, wasn't it? It was unlucky not to go in. But with the 5 at the back, I don't think. For me, I think that actually, funny enough, when we go 4 at the back, we actually look less likely to concede at the moment. If you look at how many goals we've conceded when we go into a back 4, I can't remember a time we've conceded one.
But you know what, Carl? So I don't to interrupt you there. Just carry on, obviously, what you're saying. But I completely agree with you there because I think that our defenders, when we go back 4, they take ownership and they're more accountable for their defensive display. So I've seen yesterday when they opened up, suddenly Cooper raises his game, Hutch raises his game because they realise, you know what, we've got to work our socks off here. When there's 3 at the back and the back 3, they always come in a bit complacent and they kind of give someone else the blame. You pick him up or you do that. So carry on what you're saying. That's a good point you're saying there. Yeah.
There's almost I think sometimes too many of them, and they almost get in each other's way sometimes when they're both defending. Like if they, say Cresswell or Hutch goes for the ball, they'll both go for the ball, which will leave space in behind for someone else to run into. And you know what? Even with the 5 at the back, sometimes I feel that I was watching the game last night, and I said to one of my family members who watched it, I said, why does it always feel like the opposition playing with 12? Like, we always look like we're outnumbered. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if anyone else feels that, but it just feels like there's always an extra person on the pitch for them. And I don't know. I wonder whether the answer is maybe playing that 3rd person in the midfield, just to sort of try and, I guess, get rid of the spaces. But I'd love to see Gary go 4-3-3 and just go, for Saturday, 4-3-3. Just
Chris, I know you're going to run off in a minute. Do you want to answer that with the 4-3-3 and formation side of it?
So, look, I think we should play 4 at the back on Saturday. So I don't disagree with that. All I would say is I think the kind of the stat around how many goals we've conceded as a back 4 versus 5, I don't think it's a fair comparison because ultimately we've switched to a back 4 when we're chasing a game, and therefore teams are 2-0 up and don't really care about necessarily scoring more goals. So I think we can compare that stat if we start a game with a 4, which I think we should do. So I think that's the first point. The second point is a back 5 for me only works. Ultimately, it means you've got an additional body at the back. And the way that you benefit from that, other than in theory defensively, if they all know their roles, is you are able to shift play and to shift the opposition around by moving from left to right because you've got an additional body as they're trying to press you. We're not doing that effectively because our players are not comfortable with the ball at their feet. Even our fullbacks aren't at the moment. Plus, you add into the fact that for whatever reason, Danny Mack's off form, Scott Malone's off form. They're not able to carry the ball forward. They're not able to get forward. And we've got just a distinct lack of width in the team at the moment. So all good Millwall teams have had wingers. All good Millwall teams. And I think we're missing that. But do we even have a right winger anymore? Like, actually, do we have one? Because we've only got Bury, to my knowledge, as a winger.
Honeyman can play there, I guess, couldn't he?
Well, Cork, I don't know. You're right. He could do a job there. But Chris, a lot of people praised him for playing 5-2-3 yesterday instead of doing the 5-2-1-2. I think he played two wingers to back up the wing backs when we didn't have the ball. Personally, I think he thought we'll have two wide players that can track back. We've already got 5 defenders there anyway and 2 midfielders. Let's play 2 wingers so they can get back and retreat. Because you see Burnley constantly exploit the flanks. Like, I don't know. I don't think he knows his best team either. I don't know. I don't think he does. I don't know. I don't think he knows. I think what he went into the start of the season with, when he had a full fit squad, he's changing it every week, which is fine. Players are out of form, but I think he's got to kind of think, right, there's no international break either until a couple more weeks' time, because normally there's one about now. He's got to change his team or stick to a team that he likes and say, this is my team for the next few weeks, I think he's just got to commit to it and pick his best 11.
He's a stubborn sort of player, Omar, as a manager, in the sense that he wants to play this system no matter what, and he's going to make it work. But I can't help but feel he's trying to put, is it square pegs into round holes? I think that's the correct saying, isn't it? Where he wants this system, he's got a vision, and I've heard he's done a lot of research, prior to even joining Millwall, about how he wants to play this system. And he's so adamant that he wants to make it work. He's just trying his hard to sort of make these players play in a system which is not working for the players. And he just won't change it. I don't know why he won't do it, but he just won't change it.
The thing is, though, because like Chris said, we've now limited to, there's only one winger at the club, right? I guess Phil Samuel could maybe play out wide as well. But, you can't change it now to wingers because there's not many wingers at the club, is there? It's unless you put players out.
Unless we do something, a miracle tomorrow and we bring in a couple of wingers, which I don't know if they're going to let there and do. I mean, there's a lot of calls at the moment across social media, Twitter, etc., saying, he's off, we want rid of him and we want this, want that, which I'm not necessarily there because I think, I don't know, if the club are going to, get rid of him. There was a rumour flying around that we were looking at an Italian manager, which is bollocks. But we'll come on to the question, I suppose, of who, if we did get rid of him, to replace it a bit. But I think he believes that the players are capable of doing the job he wants them to do, but they don't seem to be in that same page. They don't seem to be comfortable, whether that's playing for him or playing in that position. And if I was the manager, I'd probably look at a different formation where they seem to react when we go 2-0 down and we change to a back four and go more attacking, bring on a few more attacking options. We seem to make big changes in the game. I think he needs to look at substitutions. Doing substitutions 70 minutes plus, I don't think do anyone any good. I think if you want to make a change on the game, we've got to bring them in 50, 55 minutes. So at least they've got time to bed into the league or bed into the game.
Very true. I mean, it's a hard one. Chris is gone, but it's a hard one to. I think the thing is, I still come back to it. I don't think the defenders ultimately are good enough to ball at their feet to play 3 central defenders, and then without the ball, I agree with Joe. At times players are squabbling over each other or kind of too near each other on the pitch. It's a hard one. I mean,
and also, why aren't they getting forward? Last season, Hudson was making runs forward. Cooper used to underlap, didn't he, around the wing back and make forward runs, and you kind of understand why it became almost like an attacking formation, even though we're playing 5 at the back. Whereas at the start of this season, I can't see anything attacking about our style of play. Even our centre backs sit back, our full backs are sitting back. I'm not really going forward either. It just seems really, really odd to me. And all I could think of is that the players not either not trying for Rowett or just not happy with the system. Maybe there's something that's not quite right there at the moment. I'll tell you what, I'll be if Mill sets up with 4 against Cardiff at home on Saturday and go for it, and we end up losing 1-0, but we've had creating loads of chances, loads of shots, whatever, and we lose 1-0. I think they will get pretty clapped off the pitch. But if we go negative and we lose 1-0, like we did against Reading, then you can't blame the fans turning on them, can you?
No, it's true. It is true. I think maybe I guess we'll go into part 2, I guess, Mickey, and talk about previewing Saturday and what kind of team we want to see.
Yeah, we will do. Just one thing before. And I know you're going to say now, just before we break for part 2, if Rowett gets fired, if Rowett leaves, who is the manager you would want to bring in? I'll go with you first, Omar. Probably going to be Warnock. You're probably going to give a shout for Warnock again.
I mean, I love Warnock firstly, but that's not. I would not probably have him now. I don't know. The thing is, it's like everyone says Sean Dyche is like the pipeline dream. And I agree, he's the dream, but I don't think Sean Dyche would. Sean Dyche is holding out for the Everton or Aston Villa job when Lampard or Gerrard go. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the level Sean Dyche is probably looking to go for. Whether he gets that job is a completely different story. I want us. Do you know what? I can't tell you names, but I just want us to go for a progressive football coach, right? I want us to go for a coach that is done something in maybe League 1, League 2 level, played decent football. And when I say decent football, I mean he's drilled his players. There's an identity to his team. You look at Nottingham Forest last year under Steve Cooper. There was a clear pattern of play, clear vision, a clear profile of players they were going after as well. With Millwall and the Gary Rowett, it's very pragmatic. Try to stay in games. Try to not be beat. Try to, get the edge in games in certain areas of the pitch instead of having let's give us the ball and let's try and win this game. And I think I just want a coach to come through. Sutton United have got a young coach. Kai's going to tell me his name.
Matt Gray.
Matt Gray, right? And they've been credited for playing good football. Leighton Orient's new manager. Names escapes me. Come on, Kai. It doesn't cover Leighton Orient. It doesn't cover the East London. So. My point is there is like a young British coach, League 2, League 1, that has got a background in maybe working with youth teams or maybe, Stephen Reeds. There you go. I'll say
Ricky Rellens is the name, Omar.
Ricky Rellens. Yeah, he's another one that's been around the circuit for a while as well. I'm not saying these are players, the managers I want. But that's the kind of background I want them to have, And
I agree with that.
And I think, I'd love to go for John Coleman at Accrington Stanley, by the way. That's another one that I'd go for. Would you not, Kai? I love John Coleman, mate.
I've seen Accrington play a few times. I wasn't.
Do you know what? That's another one as well.
Controversial one. He's an interesting one. I mean,
but he's done so much on a shoestring budget there as well.
Yeah,
so you've got 2 approaches there. Yeah. You know what? Like these are names. We're not all club. So there you go.
Look,
you asked me for a name.
That's all I asked. Right, names. Who would replace Gary Rowett? Don't forget our budget, the level of the managers we normally go after, and then the managers we get. So who would you, if Rowett was to leave, we're not calling for Rowett to leave, but if Rowett was to go or, whatever happened with Rowett, what would you have?
If he was to leave, I'd try and get Nathan Jones in from Luton. I think he's.
Oh no!
Nice attractive football.
No. He.
If you say Scott Parker, you're fucking getting blocked.
League 1, right? Is League 1. You've got Carl Robinson. In the Championship, you got Nathan Jones. These two think they're the bees hit Pep Guardiola. I am not having them for 1 second. He got found out so quickly at Stoke City, and there's a reason for that. You can just look at him. I think also it's his way or the highway, which sometimes you need in a football manager, right? But they buy into this whole philosophy in a certain way with the Guardiola way of thinking and being perfectionist. I don't buy into it whatsoever. Not for me.
Well, my second one was going to be, I think you might like this one a little bit more, was going to be Mark Robbins from Coventry.
Yes, I'll get behind that one. Massively.
I think he plays a nice free-flowing football. I like that football.
I'd have had Tony Mowbray before he went to Sunderland. I thought Tony Mowbray he's another name that's been around for a while. The thing is, you can't picking a football manager must be the most difficult job in the world. Honestly, it must be so tough.
Joe,
Obviously, we all got a wish list. You know, whether we can get them or not is another thing, isn't it? You know, Dye should be lovely just for sentimental reasons. Obviously, ex-Millwall player, very passionate. You know, and I'm sure he'll play with a 4 at the back rather than a 5. So that's one good thing. I would like us to look abroad. You know, look at the Portuguese league, the German league, the Dutch league. You know, it doesn't have to be the team that are playing the Champions League, but even someone who's in a top.
We're not going to get a Champions League fucking manager, are we?
No. I mean, what I'm saying is, it doesn't have to be. That's the point I'm making. You don't have to aim that high, but it's someone who's challenging, someone who's managing a team in a sort of top 3, top 4 position that's playing good football, attacking football, and knows what he's doing. I'm sure the Championship is going to be attractive. Any manager who's managing in the Portuguese league or the German league or the French league that's currently got a team, let's say in 5th position or 6th position, why wouldn't they want to go to England and take on a team in the Championship with ambitions to go into the Premier League? I mean, Leeds signed that manager's name, that Ted Lasso guy from America. What's his name? Marchant?
Jesse March.
Jesse March. I mean, no one knew who he was, but look what he's done there. Like, he's injected this instead of confidence in the team that they're playing attacking football. Okay, they're not exactly going to be winning every single game and finishing in Champions League position this season, but they look okay. You know, they look good on the eye. They're picking up a odd win here and there. You know, I think we've got to do what Norwich done. You know, they signed that manager. Was it Dark?
Daniel Farke.
Daniel Farke.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
He was a bit of an unknown, really, I think, from Germany at the time when they signed him. So we need to look abroad, look at foreign players. Otherwise, if we have to stay in England, then I think Mark Robins of Coventry would be great for us. You know, ex-striker, loves playing attacking football. You know, good on the eye. I think it'd be great. Whether he'll leave Coventry for Millwall, that's another question.
I think we've not really done it in recent history, but I think we need to look abroad. I think there's a whole different style of football what they're used to, and I think there's a different level of passion and enthusiasm and man management. I think the biggest problem we've got with, if you listen to the rumours, is that Rowett isn't the best man manager in the business. So I don't know if Adam Barrett is or the other guys. I can't think the other one, Robinson, in it.
Paul Robinson,
or whether or not they're there. But I would love to have an international manager to come in. Who would I want on an English manager? I don't know. You know, realistically, is there anyone that's going to do anything different to where we are? I think Warnock would have been a good call a while back. Is he out of the game a while too long now? I don't know. I know he's got a love-hate relationship with us, but someone like him where he'd pretty much stand for what we stand for. He could be a good call, but yes, people like Scott Parker and, you know, I wouldn't want anywhere near the club. Dyche, yeah, it'd be lovely, sentimental and all that. Can't see it happening. So yeah, haven't they? There was someone in the 70s. What, maybe he was a coach.
I don't think we've ever had a foreign manager. I could be wrong, but as far back as I can remember, I don't think we've ever had. As foreign as we've got, it's gone Scotland. That's about as foreign as we've got. We've had a few Scottish managers,
and Ireland,
and an Irish, yeah, but we haven't had anything, you know, overseas.
Huh? It was Steve Lomas Scottish.
Steve Lomas was a cunt.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Steve Lomas was Northern Irish. Kenny Jackett was Welsh, I suppose, wasn't he? No,
what's John Docherty? Was he John Docherty?
Willie Donachie was Scottish. You know,
Mark McGee, Scottish.
Look, Jimmy Nicholl. Just as we're going into part 2, we're going to break and go into part 2. Question out to the audience then. Has Millwall ever had a non-Great Britain manager? As in England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland? Have we ever had a foreign manager? There's one for you then, audience. Get involved in the comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, get involved in the comments below. I know we had an he was Argentinian. I can't fucking think of his name now. I've got him
Just
muddled up
go
between
to
the
part
brothers.
2 for
But
fun.
I will find it in a minute. Trust me. Right, that's it. We will be back after this advert. See you in a minute. Welcome back. Part 2. Millwall takes on Steve Morrison's Cardiff City on Saturday at the Den, and the one and only Romeo is back too. What's your feelings on the game coming up then on Saturday? And I will start with you, Kai.
Yeah, there's plenty of ex-Millwall in that team. Obviously, Morrison, Romeo, Ojo. So you've got plenty of ex-Millwall in that team. So they'll all be up for it. So that sort of shows they'll probably come and probably work quite hard. They lost in the midweek 2-1 to Luton. Morrison, I think Morrison will know how to try and ruffle. He'll probably know how to ruffle the Millwall players, the Millwall crowd. We've just got to be the players have just got to be smart about how they set up, how they go into it, and obviously I think we need to start really fast. Start fast and start strong, and if we do that, the fans will get behind it, because obviously we haven't had a great run, and we need to give something to the fans, give the fans something to cheer about. So yeah, I think it's going to be a tough game, but it's definitely one that we need to win. We can win.
I can't believe you've forgotten Ryan Allsop as well, ex-Millwall. What are you doing? Jeez. Didn't play a game for us, but Ryan Allsop as well.
And by the way, we've only ever had British Isle managers all the
So
way
you're
from.
wrong then. Not an Argentinian
He was a
in
coach.
the 70s, though.
He was a coach. He was a coach.
Okay.
He was a coach, not a manager.
Okay. Back to Saturday, shall we? Yeah. But,
Joe.
yeah, right.
Let it go.
Go on, Joe.
Morrison's going to set up, I think, fairly attacking. I mean, he played with a 4-3-3 formation against Luton, didn't he? And to be fair, they played really, really well. I saw some of the highlights of that game. They had probably more chances, more possession. Marlon Romeo played right back. He was getting forwards quite a bit. And I think Luton were quite lucky, really, to win that 1-2-1, because on reflection, I think Cardiff should have beat them. There's an extra impetus involved now on Saturday, because obviously Morrison wants to get one over his old club. Marlon Romeo would definitely want to get one over us as well. They're playing with a little bit more confidence than us at the moment, playing a bit more attacking football. And if we're not careful, we could come out, come out and end up losing this game at home, which would be pretty embarrassing. Ojo obviously is playing for them as well, and he seems to be doing quite well. I mean, it all depends on what formation Rowett picks. I know it sounds ridiculous, keep repeating myself what I'm saying here, but we've got to go for it. We've got to be on the front foot, put it on them, and don't let them, dictate the pace to us.
Omar.
Well, I agree with both the boys there, to be honest. And I think I'll go ahead and tell you what my ideal team would be. I think we'll probably give that as well. But, I think, firstly, Morrison will try and rattle the fans. I think we'll rattle him too, though. That's always been the story of Morrison. He rattles us, but we rattle him just as much. So it'll be interesting to see if that does get to that kind of occasion, how that will be. I look forward to seeing that play out. I think I want us to go forward at the back. The thing is like you don't have many wide players available because we've lost a lot of players. But all right, I'm gonna say it now. I'd probably go 4-2-3-1. Right, I'd have Bart in goal, Danny Mack, Creswell, Hutchinson, and Murray Wallace left back. I'd have midfield 2 of Shackleton and maybe Mitchell. Busy midfields. Saville misses out. He's not done much wrong, but I think the change is probably to be expected on Saturday. Fleming in the 10, Bury on the left, Vogelsummer on the right, and Tom Bradshaw up front. 4-2-3-1. That'll be the team I'll go for on Saturday. I think Afobe doesn't deserve to go back in just yet. We didn't talk about him getting dropped on Tuesday. Good call by the manager. He's been out of sorts, not really done much, not had much service either. So it's like we can have Haaland up front. I don't think he'd score 9 in 5 like he has for City. I don't think personally. He'd probably score a couple more than Afobe has because he's a better player than him. But Afobe's not had many chances. But at the same time, he's not really looked interested. So there you go. That'd be my team.
I agree with that formation, and I agree with most of the players you picked there. The only slight difference I'll have is Bradshaw, for all his running, for all his effort, his work rate, he can't trap a bag of cement. Like you see that when the ball comes up to him, how many times does the ball come up to him and he loses it? Now, I get it. He's under pressure. He's got a defender up his arse, whatever, but he doesn't seem to hold balls up. He can't really do it that well. Unless he's in the 6-yard box and there's a chance falls to him, the edge of a cross comes, whatever, he could be very effective for us. But I can't see him doing the busy stuff that we need to do outside of 6-yard box. So I would go with that team, Omar. The only difference is I put Volstammer as a centre forward in that one on his own. I think he's busy enough. He's got the ability, he's got technical ability as well to play that role as a lone striker. And then I'll put Honeyman on that right side of that attacking three. So what you see there with Fleming and Bury, I agree with you, but Honeyman will go on the right and Volstammer up front. I think Afobe needs to be dropped. He needs a bit of a rest. Whether that is a rest or kick up the arse for him to sort of liven up, I don't know. Malone needs to be rested. And that's probably the team I'll go for.
I'm going to go for. The thing is, it's difficult, isn't it? Because we've still got 24 hours left to the transfer window, so it could be a totally different ball game if we, bring in one. But as of the team for now, if it stays like that for Saturday, I'm going to go for Bart in goal, Danny Mack, Hutch, Cooper, Murray Wallace. I'll go Saville and Billy in the middle. Don't think Shackleton's done that much wrong, but I think Saville and Billy last year, I thought the back end of last year were really good together. Then I'd go Fleming, Fleming on the right, Bury on the left, Bury sort of left of the front three, Bradshaw down the middle, and Foggy on the right. So 4-3-3, but with Fleming just ahead of the two, so almost like a 4-2-1-3 almost. But yeah, Fleming dropping back to help with the midfield as well.
Mickey Simpson, you're on mute, mate. I mean, it wouldn't be a pod episode without that being a thing. So, go on, mate. Welcome to that Mill podcast if you're new around here. This is normally what happens. Mickey, the guy next to me, always has himself on mute. His phone vibrates for half the show too. So if you're wondering what that vibration was, it's also him. So there you go. Go on, Mickey.
Right then, gents.
What's your team?
What's
your team?
I'll go Bart and goal. And I would go Danny, Hutch, Cooper, Wallace, back four. I would do. I'll probably do Mitchell and Saville, same as what Joe, but they same as what do you call it? But I would probably do pretty much similar on the attack to what you and Joe said. I'd have Fleming sitting behind, just in the number 10, and then I wouldn't have Bradshaw because I just don't think. I mean, he's capable, but I just don't know. I'd rather have him on as an impact player later on in the game. So
he's not a player that you want who's chasing the game, is he, Mickey? Like if you're 1-0 up, 2-0 up, and you're in control, then Bradshaw will be a great player to have if you're creating chances. You're right.
Not if you're chasing, because he just hasn't got that
exactly.
spurge. I'd definitely have Honeyman, so I'd have Honeyman on, and I would put, I would put him as a solo front because there's something about him.
Who would you have as a striker though? Would you play Afobe? If you've got a choice of Afobe, Volstammer, and Bradshaw, you've got to pick one of those three. Same here.
Volstammer is a striker, and go. But anyway, gents, before we go to your predictions and get to the final bit, Pitch Footy has basically asked us to pick our team of the week, who we think is going to be taking on the Cardiff game. So I'm going to put it to you boys now that we need to come up with a team we all agree on what we put forward to pitch, and obviously so we can see who agrees with us and who doesn't. So we go.
What's the incentive? What's the incentive?
Huh?
What do we get in return if we get the team right? What's the incentive here?
Well, what
are they giving? What are they giving us? What are they giving us?
I'll barter for us. So yeah, if we get it nailed on, I'll make sure we get something.
Baseball cap.
So yeah, or something for the listeners we'll do something for a prize for the listeners. But we're obviously going with Bart in goal. Yes.
So we've got to predict what Brat's going to play. So we'll have 9 defenders,
and
1 up front.
Yeah.
That'll be our
Who,
team.
who will be a false nine, Omar?
Yeah, and that would be probably
That's
George.
a
That'll probably be
false
George Honeyman just running around or something up front on
Yeah.
his own.
But what is our
And he won't
what would
press
be
either,
your
will he?
team? What is our team for Saturday?
I think he changes it. I think he changes it Saturday. I do think he actually changes it Saturday.
Yeah, so you reckon we're going to go
5 at the back? He'll go 5
4 at the back?
100%. He'll go 5 at the back.
I think Saturday changes it, Joe. I do.
Well,
I think
unless it's on social media, you
He
know,
seemed to listen to us the other day, didn't he?
yeah.
I don't know about that. He's very self-aware. He's very self-aware and very. I think he's very conscious of his image, and I don't think he wants this to go wrong at Millwall. Whether that be because he's got bigger aspirations, or whether that be because he wants to succeed and see the job through here at Millwall to, 5 years down the line, I don't know. But I think he'll not. I think he's not stupid that he will know that 3 defeats in a row. He'll know what the fans are thinking. He'll be advised by what the fans are thinking, not necessarily on the football side because it's his job to choose the football side. But I think he'll be aware of what's happening at the club and what the fans think. If he doesn't, he's very naive. But I think he's that kind of guy that's very aware.
Omar, a poll went out yesterday. Millwall poll, very simple one. Would you play with a back 4 or a back 5 next game? And 92% said back 4. Only 8% said back 5. Now, if he goes against, on average, 90% of the Millwall fan base, surely, he's got to listen to fans.
90% of the Millwall fan base is not on Twitter.
Well, no, I'm just saying as an average. That's a cluster of fans that are voting there. If you look at that as an average, that's a high percentage, 92%. So what I'm saying is, if he starts with a back 5 against Cardiff straight away, the fans are going to think, "Oh, for fuck's sake, here we go again." Negative. The players will be negative, And I can see if he starts with a back 5, I can see us losing 1-0 like we did against Reading. I can see it happening all over again.
I think we go 1-0 down early doors if we play back 5, and then that's when the den turns, and then maybe we get a result. Okay, fine. I'm with Joe. He'll play back 5. He'll play back 5. He'll play back 5.
We'll do it off, and people can see our prediction later in the week when it comes out live. So listen, we will do it. It is that time. We need a jingle. I'm going to have to get a jingle made up, I think. Right. Omar, prediction, Cardiff game. No fucking about. Just give the prediction. Straight off the top of your head. Off you go.
Millwall 0, Cardiff 0.
Joe.
Millwall 0, Cardiff 1.
Kai.
If he plays a back 5. If he plays a back 4.
No.
Just your
no
prediction for the game Saturday, mate. That's it.
That's it. Regardless of what he picks, what's your score?
Okay,
Last chance.
We'll lose 1-0.
Okay. Kai?
Bold, but 4-0 Millwall. We're back. I'm telling you, we're going to be back. You can all laugh.
What are you doing on that?
Anyone need any drugs before the Saturday's game? Just go and find Kai. Because whatever he's putting on his cornflakes lasts a long time.
He's had a bowl of Cocoa Pops or something, has he?
Are you sure that was sugar on your shreddies this morning, mate? Jesus Christ.
I was going to go a bit realistic, a bit. We said have a little bit of a pop out there and go. I'm going to go 2-0.
We said Millwall, not Man City,
but 4-0. Fuck.
I think it'll be the
we'll do the show. We'll do the show next week, mate. And we'll
if he does, right next week, we'll be naked. We'll be on naked on the show. Kai can wear his clothes. And we'll be naked. You need to see us from the waist up.
No. What we're going to do is, Joe. You can be fucking naked.
Yeah, that'd do.
Right? Because you're the one calling.
And turn your camera off too, because I don't want to see this.
Well, I'll have a big leaf there covering.
If we win 4-0, Joe,
I'll be naked on the show
this
week.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I'm not. I won't be on that show next week, lads. So you
ladies, make sure you tune in next week.
That's it. Right. That's it. So 12 is all done and dusted. If you like what we do, then please subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us, add to the comments, get involved, create a debate, whichever way you want to do it. We are across social media. If you don't know where we are now, then you've probably been living in a cave. Join us again next week for more of the same. I've been Mickey Simpson. Thank you for listening. The fella to the left of me is Omar.
Cheers, Mickey.
The fella down the bottom who's going to be naked next show is Joe.
Thank you very much, lads.
And the football guru, Kai. That's it from us for another week. We will see you again soon. Remember that Millwall podcast. We are a Millwall podcast unlike any other.